Thank you for tuning in to another episode of News Make Alive with me, Laura Japierre. Trending in the news. Inner city activist Cheryl Clark gunned down. Will we ever know why she and her husband were targeted? Wilton's Yard elders have been targeted in the past, mercilessly being gunned down. Will inner city communities ever know peace in recent times? You know, it was very gut-wrenching to see friends and family members, community members of Cheryl Clark crying and lamenting the loss of one of their elders. Crying out, not knowing the reason for her senseless, brutal murder and wondering whether they're next. Do we care, St. Lucia, that our city and our inner city communities are becoming communities where people fear to go, and even community members who live there don't know whether they should be staying or moving out? Will we be seeing a mass exodus soon? Something to think about. Ebola. Is it back or was it ever gone? Were officials too overzealous in announcing the eradication of Ebola in Liberia 2 months ago? Over the weekend, a 17-year-old boy died in a small town outside the Liberian capital of Monrovia after he had initially been diagnosed with malaria, which has similar symptoms to the early stages of Ebola. His family had the burial team swab his body to test for the virus, only to come back positive. Are we over the hump when it comes to our fear of Ebola? Are we being lulled into a false sense of security worldwide? Gay marriages legalized. Is this the free love movement amended? Was Obama wrong to give every man and woman equal rights to express the ultimate act of commitment? Or are we being hypocritical by only quoting some aspects of the Bible, like Leviticus 18:22, which states that we're not to have sexual relations with a man, or a man and a man should not have sexual relations with each other as they would with a woman, and that it is detestable? But what about Leviticus 20:10, which states, and if a man has sexual relations with another man's wife, even the wife of his neighbor, he and she are certainly to be put to death? Is it a case of us denouncing one act and glorifying another, or at the very least tolerating and accepting it? Something to think about. So, we now have the National Help Hotline being a reality. And that is something I can honestly say kudos for. I mean, we've had so many cases of our young, our old, our not so old and not so young, our children taking their lives, troubled teens, everybody just going through issues and not knowing where to turn to. We now have an option where we can turn to people who will listen, and I firmly believe that sometimes all we need is a listening ear, and we can get that and remain anonymous and not have any fear of rancor or ridicule. So there's not going to be any more 1 cent and 2 cent pieces issued as of today, the 1st of July. But a lot of people are confused about that. They don't understand. A lot of small merchants are wondering what's going to happen. It's simple. While there will be no new 1 cent and 2 cent pieces being minted, that does not mean that the 1 cent and 2 cent pieces already in circulation will just miraculously disappear. We will still be able to take it to the bank and still be able to use it as legal tender, because it really is. However, we will try to phase it out within a 5-year period, which means that you go to the store, and if your item costs 99 cents and you pay with $1, you're not going to receive a cent back. And if your item costs 98 cents and you pay with $1, you're not going to get 2 cents back. But if your item costs 93 cents and you pay with $1, you'll get 5 cents in return. So you're still not going to be getting 1 cent and 2 cent pieces. Now try to say that in Creole, but my patois is not so good. But let me just attempt, for those of us who have a penchant, to understand a little better. So forgive me. Desu epi kadgo pakai katsu. Thank you. Katsu pakai nou pakai service encore. Mais la kay still ni sa la ou ale a boutique la, mais ou pakai jweni met boutique pakai ba ou se desu e katsu sa la viwe en la monnaie. Mais si ou ni la monnaie sa la e pou ba yo kay point. Ou sa pote ya bak la, mais nou ni sek lani pou nou tiwe complètement an de société nou. Gina Coney, Lucian Rosa Parks, or a misguided civil servant? Is it such an egregious act for a civil servant to merely state an intention to seek to become a representative of the people whom she already serves? What about the protection of fundamental rights and freedom? Chapter 1b, freedom of conscience, of expression, and of assembly and association. That's in our Constitution. Does it supersede the public service staff orders? Is this a chicken and egg situation? When we come back, our guests. Stay tuned.